Getting in touch with prospects these days is harder than ever. My friend Richard and his team's doing some remarkable things, and they're seeing crazy numbers with actual connections and contacts, which are leading to some remarkable appointments. You're going to love it. Check it out. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And on this episode, I'm bringing on a friend named Richard. Richard actually runs an organization and has an amazing team that focuses on helping you and me, companies like us, to be able to increase not only with our marketing, but with our sales. Today, he's going to break down something that he and his teams has been experimenting. Now, the beautiful thing is that Richard comes from not only the sales component side or the sales side, but also has this marketing experience. Their job is to make sure they contact and to get appointments and to get in touch with busy people. The things that they've experimented with are remarkable. I mean, it's some fun stuff. Now, it's not revolutionary in the sense that this is going to be the only new strategy. But the concept behind what they're doing is most people are not doing it. They're not being creative. Just to be honest, we're setting up the cadences and sending it out, and we're just following along what the task tells us in the CRM. There's a better way, a more effective way, and that's what we're going to go through today. He's going to break down and share with you how and what he's doing, he and his team, and how it's helping them to get more contacts, communication with relevant people. Ooh-wee! Stuff's going to be so good. Now, if this is your first time listening to our podcast, our promise is that you're going to be, if you do the things that we share on these podcasts, you're going to 3 to 5x your sales pipeline with good stuff, just like this episode is going to help you with. And we're also going to help you to close twice as many deals. We have amazing content, amazing guests. Now, what I would love for you to do is go ahead and connect with me on LinkedIn, as well as our guest, Richard. You can find his stuff in the show notes below. As always, we want this to be one of an amazing experience for you. So let's go ahead and dive in, learn a little bit more about Richard, his organization, and specifically this challenge and how they're tackling it head on and are achieving more contacts with relevant prospects. Check it out. Richard, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Donald. Great to be on. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course. I'm really looking forward to this. I was joking in the teaser, in the introduction there, and I was telling folks about that this episode is going to be so amazing, that we had interferences, things came up, travel and whatnot, but it didn't matter. We made it happen. So we're
We're
excited to
here.
be here today and excited to
We are
learn from you.
we are here, and
Um,
we're live and dangerous. Yeah.
yeah, there you go. We'll cause some good trouble, y'all. So I want I tell us a little bit more about what you're doing right now. Go a little bit deeper, Richard, in what you do.
Into Durham Lane. Yeah, Durham Lane. We're a
Yeah.
so I'm a co-founder of Durham Lane. We're an integrated sales and marketing outsource business. We're based in the UK, but we service customers all around the world, and pride ourselves on keeping the wheel of business development turning. So we're the front end engine for our customers who are mostly enterprise blue chip clients and ambitious businesses that want to grow and understand that net new client acquisition is an important piece of their strategy.
It's not easy right now for net new clients. Not gonna lie, there's challenges with that. But you all did some interesting stuff recently to help improve that. I it's all around this idea of how do we increase your outbound ratio. How did you go about the outbound contact ratio, to be exact? Because sometimes you get people who, we can do more. We can use sales automation and we can just pump out way much more content, and we can
Yeah.
flood people's inbox, and we can say, yeah, we got in touch with more people. But you guys were more on that qualitative side where you had more contact. You doubled or increased your contact with prospects. Why don't you frame for me the situation that you were facing prior, and then we can go into what led to this resolution. Does that make sense there?
Yeah, of course, Donald. No problem. So net new is challenging. Net new, let's face it, net new is always challenging. But in this climate, it's
Always.
particularly challenging, I'd suggest. We have always at Durham Lane tried to think differently. So we've tried to move away from um, just effort, and instead we talk about intelligent prospecting um, and thoughtful business development activity. So um, that means it's got to be omni-channel. It means that you've got to use technology where technology can help, but I think also it boils down at the end of the day to how do I engage people in meaningful conversation, and that's for me is still the key. And we've got some techniques that come out of our selling at a high level methodology, which we can talk about and really happy to share. So you need effort, attitude, aptitude of your people, and then you need processes and structure and frameworks around them, technology to help facilitate and to drive some of that volume. But really, most importantly, you need to have people thinking and understanding why somebody should be interested to give you that connection point.
So go back into this then. Can you tell me about what your sales situation was like before? Like, what was going on in your sales team? You guys adopted this, and you see an amazing result. But what was going on in your sales org?
We found, Donald, that our as an outsourcing business representing global clients, our remit is to create opportunity for them. It's getting harder and harder to connect with people. We see that in our own business as well. So from a Durham Lane perspective, going out and creating opportunity. So a number of years ago, we flipped and created a marketing services part of our business. So we've really doubled down over the last 3 or 4 years on MQL to SQL. I think we lead the charts in some of that activity. If you read the stats, you see a lot of enterprises typically convert between 1 and 10% of their MQLs into SQLs, and as of last quarter, we were at 42.3% on behalf of our customers. So I think we've understood that bit, but that's that omni-channel piece that is so important. It's not enough just to give your sales guys and girls telephone, internet, and email, LinkedIn. You need to be supporting that whole journey and understanding the customer in order to engage.
All right, everyone listening to this episode now is like, how in the world did that happen to get to the 42%? Like, how? So talk to us about that problem that I mean, what is the solution you guys had in place?
Yeah, sure. So let's break it down a little bit. From a messaging strategy, we focus on three different buyer scenarios. We think about problem education, we think about solution research, and we think about solution selection. And individuals, buyers, are in any one of those three states at any one time. But what often happens is that you use the same message for people in those different states. So it's not relevant. So you've got to be relevant. So we work hard on that. Secondly, um, it's really important to focus on the call to action. So why should somebody be interested, and what do you want them to do? How do you want it to move next? And thirdly, and it sounds really basic, but follow up really fast and, and be follow up fast. Think about business fit and business value. Have a meaningful conversation, and demonstrate that you've understood and you've been part of this golden thread of conversation that has gone from online, digitally somewhere, through to a human being that's talking to you, through to I'm interested, let me take the next step.
Can you? This is very fascinating. Can we take a time and take a few minutes to just break down each of those and just dive into them? Like, if I'm
Yeah,
sitting
sure.
here, I'm thinking about this as a sales leader. I'm like, holy crap, this man is dropping gold on this episode. Like, I want this. How do help me understand each of those different areas, and then maybe we could talk about how we could wrap that all into a bow, and if I want to try that.
Yeah, sure. So it's our firstly, I guess you start with data, don't you? So who is my target market, or what is my target market, my TAM? Who are the people that I'm trying to I want to be buying my product or my service? So you've got your personas, whether it be a chief marketing officer or a chief technology officer or a chief information, whoever it might be. Um, then you need to be researching what is it that we believe they why should they be interested. So we have some really simple thoughts really. Firstly is business fit, business value. So it's our first mantra. So there needs to be a potential fit between us and that particular company and that buyer. So why should they be interested? And then secondly, what's the value that we're going to offer them above and beyond? We also talk about sort of four key strands of communication. We talk about being relevant, being concise, being topical, and action orientated. So we can blend that down, whether that be an email, a phone call, whether there may be some semi-automation in there. And our job is to pique interest and then to convert that interest into opportunity on behalf of our customers.
What you mentioned an idea of problem education. Is can you earlier? Can you talk a little bit more on that, especially when you come up with a buyer persona? Because I
Yeah,
think that
sure.
has to be crystal clear. Like if you're
Yeah,
really trying to
I
pique interest and get these contact ratio, that part I feel is just like it's like I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's probably pretty decent. Like the heart of it, understanding who you're going for, obviously is critical, and understanding data. But then that really, what is that real problem? How do you figure out a real problem? And then go back. How do you? We could go to some of the fun things about how you all grab those people's attention to then get the contact.
yeah, sure. So I think I think the when you find someone in problem education mode, and there's a great phrase which I've used for many years. It wasn't mine, so it belongs to a guy called Craig Elias, who I know. Um, and he said our job is to connect with people when they're looking out the window of dissatisfaction. And that means that they know they sort of know they've got a problem, but they haven't started looking to fix it yet. And if we rock up
Mm.
in their window with something relevant and meaningful, when they're just starting to come to terms with the fact that I'm going to have to solve this, or they maybe see some communication from us. Maybe we've been um, tagging them, or maybe they've seen our brand or our logo, or whatever, or our customer's logo, whatever it might be, on LinkedIn or wherever. Um, they go into that board meeting, come out afterwards and go, who was that dude that was trying to connect with me and talking to me about all of these things that, just messaging me and not expecting a reply, because let's face it, it's, our our customers and prospects have no obligation to reply to us. It's not, I always say to people, it's just not personal. Don't take it personally. It's just when the moment is right, then it will be right. And our job is to be top of the inbox, or to be front of mind for when that person gets into that mode of, I'm going to start researching how to find my way out of this challenging situation. So that problem education piece is so key. It does mean possibly that it's a longer sales cycle. Obviously, if you find someone who's looking for a solution, then you're probably up against competition as well, right? Because they're already looking. If you look, then you will typically be looking at least three alternatives, or two alternatives plus you. If I say, Donald, go and buy me this, you're not going to come back with, or go and find me quotes for a new CRM. You're not going to come back with one. You'll come back with three. But
No.
if I'm sitting there going, geez, man, I really need to look after my contact data better, or I need to sync this together. And then you pop an email to me saying, hey, did you know? Or we work with companies just like you who have created success by doing this with our product, then it resonates.
Yeah. I agree there for sure. I would love to hear some examples, if you don't mind. Like, what are some of the plays that you all have ran to get to that point where you're getting this type of contact ratio? What I mean, you gave us like the framework here and some of these critical components, but what did you do? Give me some of that nice sexy stuff now.
Yeah. So when we were agreeing dates to chat, Donald, I did actually go out to our team, because let's face it, they're on the front line. They're doing this every day, and they're my experts. So
Yeah,
I just went out to them and said, look, give me some examples, and I got some great ones back. So I'll share a couple with you if I may. Um,
please.
one of my colleagues, talked about user gems, he calls them, and this is where he's created some searching on LinkedIn where he's gone out and found people who have used the tool or the service that he's positioning on behalf of our customer. They've then moved job into a new company, and he connects back around with them saying, hey, I know that you successfully used this in your previous company. It would be great to have a chat to you about. So that's quite an interesting one. So he's sort of um, using previous experience to help him open up another conversation in a new organization. Um, Really obvious, but we talk a lot at Domain about business fit and business value. I've already said it a couple of times, and another colleague was saying just actually putting in a bit of that research prior just makes that huge difference. And part of the challenge sometimes with technology is that people forget that they need to actually think. So they need to think about why should somebody be interested? Why should somebody be? I think that's the biggest challenge CRM created was that, you know, I'm just calling this person because I'm being told I have to. Actually, you should be calling them because you believe you can help them and support them and deliver more value than they're going to spend with you. Um, Referrals always buys you some time. So whether the referral is totally relevant, then that's a great way of the referred seller, as they say, is always the most cost effective. Why? Because typically, if you've been referred, then someone is in that solution research mode, and your name has come up, and someone has recommended you. So you've already jumped a couple of stages of the time of needing to buy. And then the other thing is sort of industry leaders. So we often run a play which is let's do what we call hotspotting. So if you're one of your top customers is, I'll pick a brand, if it's Sodexo, then we'd go out and find companies at different tiers that are like that organization, and then build some prospecting around them. So as personalized as you can get, whilst appreciating that in order to get volume and scale, it can't always be totally topical. But if you can build it out on that topical basis, then people get interested. And our third mantra is be interested to be interesting. And one thing I've found is that the more interested you are in other people, the more inquisitive you are in their world, then the more interesting you become to them. So the quicker you can get into question mode on a call and interest, then the chances are you're going to be able to get into a good conversation.
With that, then I love this, and especially the last one there made a little note around this idea of being inquisitive. I'm a big believer in the curiosity. Like if
Yeah,
if you're curious, if you have enough curiosity, you can find and you can create some really genuine connection. How did that? How is this translated into the connection? So by doing these things, you're saying then is this it sounds like it's not just email, so it's not just like one path. It's just like they could have made this connection on a LinkedIn or connection or a phone or email. It
yeah,
sounds like there's a variety of ways.
yeah,
Your omni-channel and
yeah. Has to be on omni-channel, Donald. I think actually, I think salespeople need to really become more marketeers, and that role is really starting to come together in terms of you've got to be thinking of content and acquisition strategies, as well as what do you do when you get someone interested. And part of my passion is how do you connect those worlds of sales and marketing together. They typically are fairly dysfunctional, and we talk about the no man's land that exists between those two elements, and we've made it our business to connect the two. Um, and it's not enough just to be thinking I want to sell to people. You've got to be thinking, how do I interest them? Are going out of omni-channel. I can automate some of that. So, we're a SalesLoft platform, so we're starting to using SalesLoft technology and other platforms to help us sort of accelerate what we do. But that personalization is really important, and that's, I think, what delivers you the better conversion rates at the other side.
man, I'm loving this stuff, man. If there's like there's so many different avenues that we can go down with, so many different ways that we can um I guess what I'm trying to get at, I interviewed another gentleman and we were talking about this idea of scale. Like so often as a sales leader, we think, well, now that I know this stuff, how do I scale it? In somewhat, you guys have scaled it, but I think we can't put the cart before the horse. It's not that you scaled it, you figured out you gave people the ability to think. And by empowering those people with the ability to think, then you could ramp that up. And that's obviously, you probably, that's why you've seen some ridiculous numbers like you are right now. And it's not necessarily, from what I'm getting, it's not a volume base. It's more on, this is how you truly understand what matters to that human being. And this is how
Yes.
you can, once you can do that, this is how you can grab their attention. And if we truly have the right ICP based on the data, we can obviously land a connection, which therefore lands an appointment. Am I off on that?
No, totally correct. And I think there are some strange metrics in our world, aren't there, Donald? Because people often talk about open rate of email. Well, great, but
Yeah,
if you've tricked me into opening your email, that's a bad thing, right? So actually, it's really about what happens next. At Durham Lane, a big project we're just launching is really getting deeper under the skin of our customers so that we can actually see the path to revenue. Because it's so important. I think our customers would rather us create 50 great opportunities that convert versus 150 opportunities that don't convert. So I think scale is really important, and the ability to accelerate and scale is really really valuable and important. But you've also got to look through the funnel, and that's a big thing for us now is how do we get closer to the ROI, closer to the revenue, so that not only as a sales leader, but as a financial leader of that organization, you want to be looking at Durham Lane thinking, we're getting amazing value from the leads that are being created for us. And we know that it's taking this long to convert. And we want to be saying to them, look, for every SQL we put into the hopper tomorrow, it's going to be X days until that goes through. But we know that X% of those are going to convert into opportunities and then into revenue. And then you start having real business value type conversations.
man, we can go on for days on this, Richard. This is so good. This is awesome stuff. I think we got some good notes here, some good ideas. If there's one thing you want to leave with a sales leader or sales rep listening to this episode, that as they're looking at increasing their contact ratio, what is that one piece of advice?
Yeah, great question. So one piece of advice for me would be work with your colleagues in your marketing team and bring the two functions together, because you should really be driving towards the same goal, which is piquing the attention of the right people in the right types of company so that your sales team can convert them into revenue and your customer success team can look after them for life. If you can achieve that, then you've
Love
got a winning strategy.
Absolutely love it, man. If folks want to get in touch with you, learn a little bit more about what you guys are doing, what's the best way for them to go about doing so?
Yeah, well, we're all over LinkedIn as you'd expect, but our website is www.durhamlane.com. And if you'd like to get hold of me, it's richard.lane, Lane, at durhamlane.com.
Richard, thank you for taking the time to come on the show. Thanks for sharing this revolutionary idea with us and helping us to be able to improve our contact rate.
You're
Thanks.
welcome, Donald. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Hey, if you haven't connected with Richard Lane as of yet, please go ahead and do so. Find his contact information down below and linked for his LinkedIn profile. What I loved about it was like this idea of not just having a set boundary that their sales reps need to stay within. They're looking for creative ways, angles of how they can connect with these prospects and to grab their attention. And that's what it's all about. How do we grab the attention of busy people? Hopefully this gave you some ideas today, things that I'm going to try as well from this episode. And I hope that you try them as well. And I would love to hear about your results. Go ahead and connect with me on LinkedIn, Donald C. Kelly. Again, Donald C. Kelly. Speaking about LinkedIn, we have a LinkedIn prospecting course. We do a cohort every month. And if you haven't signed up for this one, we'd love to have you. You're going to love it. We promise that you will help you to get 3 to 5 appointments through creative ways, natural ways, utilizing LinkedIn, not spamming people and sending out a bunch of garbage messages, but just really being a human. And we should break down what we do internally and to share that and see if it can help you as well. You're going to love the course. As always, our sponsors are giving you amazing tools. They're giving you amazing offers. Take advantage of them. We're hustling for you, so take advantage of that. As always, we want you to raise your level of thinking. We want you to go out and do big things. Thanks so much for watching.